Welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. Brought to you live Sunday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm your host, Joseph of Borg. You can call in live 725-333-4140. I am Joseph of Borg. This is the Sunday evening version, very first time doing it this time of day of the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. This week's topic is going to be, are you scared? Quite a few things we can talk about on that topic, but it seemed a very timely topic, and I didn't want to just deal with what's going on with current world situations. Sorry, I'm adjusting my camera a little bit here as we talk. It's really one of those things where there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I don't really want to just cut it to that. We're all familiar with the issues that are going on with what I call the cerveza bug. I'm calling it that because if you call it by its rightful name, YouTube has been demonetizing people and taking their videos down. So with that in mind, obviously that's a concern for pretty much everybody with a brain right now. However, that's not all I wanted to talk about. When you have chronic pain, being afraid and fear are two very big parts of your life. It can start out very simply. Fear causes stress. Stress causes hormones that cause inflammation. Cortisol by name. Which can actually, being stressed, can actually make your pain worse. If somebody can give me a thumbs up, if you can see and hear me okay, that would be fantastic. Early on in my chronic pain issues, and I think it bears mentioning that you can be scared and afraid of the pain itself. Obviously, nobody likes pain, and nobody likes to be scared. With the exception of certain control, we like to be scared under controlled circumstances. Roller coasters, scary movies, they give us that thrill, they give us that adrenaline rush. But we know, at least on some level, that we're actually safe. So you're not really fearful for your life as a rule when you're riding a roller coaster or watching a scary movie or reading a scary book. But I found it was a real turning point for me with my chronic pain issues and being a chronic pain patient, I guess, when I turned the corner of being scared of the pain, being afraid of the pain. Once I came to a certain level of acceptance, because I knew I was going to have pain, I knew certain things were going to hurt, and being fearful of it and worrying about it really only made things worse. So I guess, for lack of a better term, like I said, I came to a certain point of acceptance where I wasn't scared of the pain. I wasn't worried about the pain. Part of that was learning through experimentation and just living it, that the pain would plateau and go up and down. Most of us get caught up in a boom-bust cycle with our pain. When we're having a decent day, we do everything we wanted to do or can do and push ourselves too far, and then we have to spend days in recovery. That's why I've titled one of my Facebook pages Surfing the Pain, because that's how I view it, kind of riding a wave, trying to avoid that boom and bust cycle. And a big part of that for me was learning not to be scared of the pain, learning that that's what's going to be expected. It's very easy when you're having a pain flare to feel like the pain is never going to diminish, that it's going to be at that level forever. Fortunately for me, my pain ebbs and flows depending on what I'm doing, what I've been up to. I kind of call it the economy of pain. We have to weigh as chronic pain patients what you want to do versus what it's going to cost you pain wise. So that can be a really big issue, not being sure how it's going to play out. On, I guess, the positive side, I've cut a lot of nonsense out of my life because of that. Because if I'm going to invest the pain, time, and effort into going to do something, then it's got to really be worth doing. I don't have a lot of time. Hey, Julie, I guess you can hear me okay. That sounds good. Glad to have you with. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time for trivial matters anymore. I don't have time or interest in hanging out with people who only want to make small talk and don't want to have meaningful, intimate relationships. Um, I know in Western culture, intimacy is often considered to be synonymous with sex, but it's not. But yeah, if we're not going to have a real and meaningful relationship and dialogue, then I just really don't have time for it anymore. Um, I hope this is streaming smooth. It looks like I might be dropping some frames, but uh, tech issues being what they are, we're doing the best we can. Uh, it's the first time on Sunday night, so I had to make some changes. Uh, in addition to being scared of the pain itself, um, a lot of other things make us scared as chronic pain people. Uh, Financial issues, losing your career, giving up your career, which I had to come to that decision in 2015. How are you going to eat? How are you going to feed the kids? I was very blessed that I had pretty good long-term disability insurance through my last employer. So obviously I'm not missing any meals, but um, all this stress, all this fear, all these things can be very scary. Um, Trying to get a diagnosis. Once you get a diagnosis, then that's scary. And um, if you start looking at all of these things and they're causing you stress, it makes your problems worse. I know for me, it's ironic to me. Forgive me for a second, but I'm a person of faith. I consider myself a Christ follower. I avoid the term Christian because there's a lot of Christian people who claim Christian that don't do very Christian things. That said, um, I had prayed for God to give me greater patience. I used to really bite somebody's head off. God forbid the guy at McDonald's burned my fries, and I would really give him, I was just rude. I was mean. It just wasn't who I wanted to be. And ironically, since God has a way of answering prayers in strange and unforeseen ways, I ended up with a condition where if I get myself worked up and stressed out and pissed off, it actually causes me physical pain, which conditions you to be very low key and very calm. So uh, it's not always easy, and I'm not always successful. I always tell people I'm a really crappy Christian. I come nowhere near to the ideals I aspire to, but I try to be patient and polite and you know, not be rude to people. Uh, I work on it. I'm a work in progress. So in addition to being scared of the pain itself, being scared of your financial situation, being scared that it's never going to get better or even worse than that, being scared that it's going to get worse. I know my condition's going to get worse. I've got several degenerative spine conditions. The way I cope with that, and maybe this will help some of you out there, is I decided after talking with my wife a great deal about it that I can't worry or do my best not to worry about what's coming down the pike with my condition because all I can do through that is ruin the good time that I've got left, as my doctors put it. And they suggested I make the best of the good time I've got left. every minute I spend worrying about when I'm going to get worse, how much worse I'm going to get, is a minute I'm robbing myself of to live the best I can and make the best of the time I've got. Um, it's not going to change anything. I try to be active. I try and do things to prolong my good time before and try and prevent things from advancing. But sitting and worrying about it, I mean, I could get hit by a bus next week, and then I worried about it for nothing. So that's just kind of the attitude I take towards it, because I just really don't want to waste my good time worrying about how things are going to turn out in the end. Um, we talked about money. Scared of losing people, and especially it's very sad that a lot of people end up with difficulties with their significant other. Sometimes, let's be honest and let's own our own mess. Sometimes it's us. Oh, I got to change my banner since I'm on Sunday evenings. I got to make myself a note. I apologize. Sometimes the chronic pain changes us. I know my wife told me that she hoped I didn't get bitter. Hey, Colin. A lot of people who have chronic issues get very bitter, very disagreeable. That goes to the issue I talked about earlier. She told me she hoped I didn't get bitter. That can be a real challenge, but there's times where she can literally hear that my voice, she can hear it in my voice when my pain is running high. There's times where I tell her, look, my pain's out of hand. So, I don't mean to sound pissed off or angry or whatever. Here's a handy tool that I talk about a lot that might help some of you. Every morning when my wife gets up and we have coffee together, I try to give her two numbers on the 1 to 10 scale. One is my pain level, the other is my emotional state, because they don't always go hand in hand. Sometimes your pain can be high, but you're mentally okay with it. Sometimes, even though your pain's not real high and your pain may be low, your emotional state might be shitty, and vice versa, any combination. So that kind of gives her an idea what to expect from me throughout the day. So, the fear that the people in your life, and especially your significant other, is going to check out. Any of us who have had chronic pain for any serious amount of time know your social circle shrinks. A lot of people, there are those who aren't going to believe you have problems. Some of us fixate and constantly complain about our problems, which is something I think you kind of grow out of with acceptance. You can talk about it without making it a big issue. I know when people tell me, hey, it's good to see you, I just tell them it's good to be seen. I've told my friends, don't ask me how I am. You don't have to come up with anything fancy. Just tell me it's good to see me. I can tell you it's good to be seen, and we can move back or move on. Shannon, he gave you 3 months. 3 months for what? I guess would be my question to that. I am trying to keep one eye on the live chat. You should be able to call in too. I've got the phone up if anybody wants to call, 725-333-4140. A lot of people won't believe that you have chronic pain. A lot of us tend to focus and always make everything about our chronic pain. The people who really care about you will accept the fact without proof and help you make whatever adaptations you need. Sometimes if I'm sitting with somebody having coffee and I tell them I got to stand up for a minute, they don't sweat it. It's not an issue. If it is an issue, I guess they're really not somebody I'd really consider a friend. Some people just can't comprehend it. And I tell people all the time, having chronic pain is a lot like any other life experience. It's like getting married or getting divorced or having a baby. You can't appreciate it and you can't truly understand it until it happens to you. You can think about it, you can maybe try and imagine it, but you can't really comprehend it until you're in it. I think something that gives a lot of people Oh, okay, he gave you pills for 3 months. That's excellent. That's hard to come by these days with the opiate wars going on. I call it the opiate witch hunt. A lot of people, I think, have a hard time or become scarce because it is hard for them to accept that this has happened to you. A lot of us, it's come on unexpectedly. We were normal, then we weren't. Um, Maybe it's been a slow decline, but in whatever case, I think it becomes difficult for a lot of people to be around us because if they acknowledge it has happened to you, and I think this ties in with a lot of people not wanting to believe or think we're overstating it or whatever. Um, if it can happen to you, it can happen to them, and they are not ready emotionally, mentally, they are not equipped to acknowledge um, that it can happen to them. If it can happen to you, it can happen to any of us. Um, I really think it ties in with uh, the title this week, Are You Scared? You know, with the cerveza bug going on, I mean, I live in Las Vegas where stuff is shut down. I've never seen the like of it, not even after 9/11. Um, yeah, I made a Facebook post recently, Colin. Welcome, Melissa, that said, hey, one good thing about the cerveza bug, it's apparently cured the opiate crisis because you don't hear nothing about that anymore. Forgive me while I have some coffee. It's always dry here in Vegas. Las Vegas, where it's never too early for alcohol and never too late for coffee. Um, there's so much fear going on living here in Vegas. Like I said, everything's on lockdown. Many people are anxious. For those of us in chronic pain, a lot of us, it's not really a different lifestyle because I don't get out much anyway, but it does add an extra layer of frustration and fear. And for those of us who have special needs of medications or I have friends who need catheters or this or that, or have home health aides that come in that may or may not be available, may or may not show up. Obviously, this can cause some stress and this can cause some fear. And rightly so. I'm not trying to be dismissive of it, but I do want to try and give you guys a tool. And I hope you'll forgive me. I am not trying to preach to you. I am not trying to convert you in any way, shape, or form. That is not my job. But I can share my story and what happens to work for me. Okay. We go through great lengths as human beings to live under the delusion of safety, security, that we've got things handled, that we've got stuff under control, that we can affect the future. And I've got to be honest, I really do not believe that way. For me, I've seen too many times my best intentions and my greatest efforts have blown up in my face, and too many times when I've been up to no good, my bad intentions have turned out for the good. Um, and when I kind of took ownership of some of the ugly things I've done in my life, because I'm far from perfect, I was able then to see them objectively and see how a lot of times when I did something that I probably shouldn't have done. Okay, let's keep it real. When I've done things I should not have done, I've still seen how good has come out of it in many cases once I took ownership of it. But we like to feel if we work out, when we're healthy, if we work out and we get the job and we've got a certain car or our house is a certain size, we got an X number of money in the bank, or we've got this many friends, or we do this much stuff, or we're this busy, or we're this successful, that everything will be okay. And I think this cerveza bug is really going to prove to people that that's not necessarily the case. We like to have the delusion that we have shit under control, okay, that we got our poop in a group. And I think having chronic pain flies in the face of a lot of people's security and feeling that they are going to be okay. Um, you're going to do the best you can with whatever situation you're in. So if you've got some intestinal fortitude, you will be okay. But things seldom turn out the way that you plan. I've always heard the expression, man plans and God laughs. So yeah, our pain is a completely different deal, Julia. That 1 to 10 scale is, well, whenever they ask you to give you the pain on a 1 to 10 scale, you got to look at the scale because they don't all have the same examples. For instance, on some, a 10 will be the worst pain you've ever had, or some will be the worst pain you've ever imagined is a 10. And then I've actually seen scales where the 10 is you actually pass out from the pain. But yeah, the scale is so subjective. It's important if you can make good relationships with doctors who actually listen and value taking care of you. Not every doctor's a good doctor, just like any other profession. So, but yeah, I think even healthy people have a huge fear of the unknown, what's going to happen, where things are going to go down the road. And I think our existence flies in the face of their belief or their delusion, I guess, really, that they've got that things are under their control, that they can affect things in the long term. So I think this whole epidemic, pandemic is really going to be a wake up call for an awful lot of people. So, um, so if you're scared, find something to put your faith in outside yourself. I find, well, again, I believe in God. I believe that He's got some type of plan for how things are going to work. And use adversity for good. If nothing else, I can be an example. Here's a quick example of the kind of thing I'm talking about. As much as I don't like my chronic pain, it has given me a platform to reach out and help people that I never would have had otherwise. And it still brings tears to my eyes a lot of times when I receive a message or a comment from somebody telling me how I've helped them or changed their life. And that's an opportunity I never would have had if I wasn't in the condition I'm in. Um, I guess I just would encourage you also when you feel scared. One of the reasons I started doing the chronic pain call-in show and created my other Facebook pages and YouTube channels, which are Surfing the Pain, the chronic pain call-in show, obviously, spinal cord stimulator success stories, and then my persona page for my pen name, if you will, Joseph of Borg, was so that people could reach out to each other. And in the next couple weeks, I plan to bring some resources to you guys to help you get out. I think we live in a very blessed time that we're able to get out digitally and connect with one another. It doesn't have to be your Facebook page doesn't have to be your highlight reel and fake it till you make it and all that. You can really have deep and meaningful relationships through the internet. And I found this out the hard way, I guess you could say, when the opiate witch hunt just began, and I lost some people that I knew digitally. Due to their own hand because they lost their pain meds and they couldn't live like that. And I found myself mourning these people, and that's when the light went on for me that, hey, we can actually have meaningful relationships through modern technology. So if you are scared, make a post on a group. Find yourself an access to, there's plenty of Facebook groups. There's probably one for any condition you've got. Reach out to other people. There's great power in knowing you're not alone. And because so many people don't understand our pain, our situation, it's important to have other people who do understand that you can converse with. I think that's why there's mothers and mommy groups on the internet, because other mommies and young mothers or new mothers have certain challenges and information and experiences they share. So why shouldn't we do the same? So I feel like I've kind of rambled on long enough. I really didn't have too much else to share, but if you're scared, reach out. Make a post on this comment, or make a comment on this post and this video. Say hello. Share your fears. I believe that words are containers for power, um, which kind of makes sense because according to the Bible, God spoke things into existence, right? So when you verbalize something, I believe you get rid of it. So when you talk about a negative experience or you talk about your fear, I believe you literally diminish it and rob it of a lot of its power. Um, Secrets are deadly and everything nasty festers in the dark. If you bring it to light, even in the biological world, things like mold and mildew and fungus, if you get a lot of light on them, they tend to shrivel up and die or at least shrink. So, uh, again, I don't have any solutions. I just have suggestions. So, with that, like I said, I think I've babbled on long enough. I want to thank each and every one of you that tuned in and checked this out. If you could, give me a thumbs up or a like or a comment, because that helps me move up the rankings and helps other people who might benefit from these videos find these videos. Also, feel free to share my link. I recently bought the domain name to make it easier. Just chronicpainshow.com will take you right to the Facebook page. So with that, thanks again. I value the time you come and share with me. I appreciate it, and I try and bring you good content. If you've got suggestions for a show or a show topic, reach out and let me know. With that, Joseph of Borg, one love. I'm out of here.